Hello, friendos! Welcome back to another exciting episode of Frosty Talks. I wanted to do a video earlier last week around Iran and my thoughts because, I'm a veteran and what have you. But to be honest with you, as soon as I made the video, I realized that the idea and thought of World War III had died already. Simply because, President Trump came out and said that Iran has an easy out there and that they don't want to escalate tensions. And Iran was pretty much like, we don't want to escalate tensions either. So, um, it just became a useless video right after I recorded it and was like, I don't feel like that would be a good one. But some things have happened in the gaming space here recently. Pokemon announced a DLC. Um, Fallout 76 is still a trash fire. So I'm not going to touch on that, but the Pokemon DLC I will. And of course, I'm still hoping that uh, Final Fantasy VII Remake demo will come out, but as far as I know, not so fast. Anyway, so let's kick it off with Pokemon DLC. So there was a Pokemon Direct earlier this week, I think on the 9th. It's the 12th today. And I gotta say, I'm not mad. I mean, I could be if it felt like the game was rushed, but to be honest with you, I had no issues with the Pokemon game. Besides some textures being disgusting and some of the frame rate drops. It dropped frame rate a lot. However, everything else I didn't have a problem with. The story was fine. It felt like a Pokemon story to me. And just the whole idea that the National Dex is this big deal, I believe is overblown. Number one, because the National Dex to me doesn't really matter. Because as long as you have Pokemon that are catchable and their designs are decent, and it's fun to play, you shouldn't really focus solely on, oh, I can't catch this what's a good Gen 1 Pokemon that they don't use anymore? Because they still use Jigglypuff, and Jigglypuff was useless. I don't think I've seen Clefairy in a while. No, I have seen Clefairy. Shit. Mr. Mime was in it. Coughing was in it. Wheezing was in it. Ekans? Was Ekans in it? I think he is. I can't think of one that is in it that didn't really... Yeah, I can't think of any Pokemon that was Gen 1 that they really... I guess Porygon? Huh? Like, just because people can't catch a Porygon in... can they catch a Porygon? I gotta look that up. Give me one sec, guys. Can you catch a Porygon in Pokemon Sword and Shield? No. Okay, so you can't. So you can't catch Porygon. So a lot of people are ticked off that they can't catch a Porygon. Or certain Pokemon that are in that are in previous generations in this new one, and they can't port it over via the plethora of Pokemon crap. To me, that is a very silly complaint, right? And the reason why I say it's silly is because there have been Pokemon games in the past where you can't bring your Pokemon over. Like, I believe Ruby and Sapphire, you couldn't do it until they made Fire Red and Leaf Green. I think. I haven't. I did. That was a whole generation I skipped. But the point is, it's a silly complaint that there was Pokemon that were missing, and I don't blame Pokemon Company or Game Freak for that, because we're up to how many Pokemon now? I think it's over 900. It's almost 1,000 Pokemon. And to me, if they're focusing more on the Pokemon, that means that they're focusing less on the region, which is more what they want to do is they want to focus on highlighting the region, which in this case was their version of England, and I guess making the Pokemon match the region. And to me, that's perfect. Like, you should never, have this weird ancient Egyptian Pokemon in a region that doesn't feel like it needed an ancient Egyptian Pokemon. There was a totem Pokemon in it, which was kind of weird to me, but I mean, it is what it is. But basically, to me, that criticism is not a valid one. I mean, not to discredit people who really wanted the national decks, but I feel like they overblew it because they wanted this Pokemon game that was just super expansive and had all the Pokemon. I feel like if Game Freak were to do a Pokemon game to maybe bring in all the Pokemon from all the regions, they would also want to do all the regions. But that's just me. It's whatever they want to do. I feel like criticism like that, it's just people wanting to complain about pretty much anything. However, the second criticism is that the game is selling you more of the game through this DLC. And while that's fair, yes, it's trying to sell you more of the game, there's this idea that it's selling you the cut content from the game. And, I mean, yes, that's all DLC is. Like, if you look at Call of Duty map packs, that's cut content from the initial release. If you look at Breath of the Wild with the Master Quest, that's cut content from the original release. If you look at the Champions Ballad DLC, that's probably cut content because they put that stuff together pretty quick. There's more that I can think of that I can't think of right now because I'm kind of living in the past with my game choices, like Infamous Second Son, which they also had DLC for, called Cole's Legacy. And well, I guess I could continue with Spider-Man and the city. What was it? City at War what was it called? Is that it? I don't remember. But anyway, so stuff like that, I feel like people are just complaining to complain. Like, if... And let me kind of preface this, because yes, I was one of the ones who complained about the Sonic the Hedgehog design for Sonic the Hedgehog movie. That is a legitimate complaint because I want to go see the movie because I'm a huge Sonic fan. Also, I want to see the movie because I think it's going to be a trash fire and a half. Still, I mean, the story just doesn't look good in the movie, but getting Sonic to look right, that's kind of the whole point of doing like a Sonic movie. You look at Detective Pikachu, they got all the Pokemon looking exactly how they should look and took some artistic liberties with making them realistic. So a lot of that is where that stems from as well. Like, if you can't make your characters look like the character you're basing it off of, that's a legitimate complaint. But if you're complaining because you thought this game was going to be more than what they touted, then that's on you. You're setting your expectations a little too high. Now, granted, they did lie about some animations, I guess. I mean, they have to animate all new Pokemon, and then they have to animate some other things. I don't really know what they promised because I really don't care. It's a Pokemon game, and it did its job, to be honest with you. So these complaints leveled against Game Freak selling us, you know, cut content. I mean, if you're really that upset by it, then you should have been upset when they released Pokemon Yellow, when they released Emerald, when they released was there a counterpart to Silver? Platinum. Or when they re-released Fire Red and Leaf Green, or I could go on because they have a problem with that. Like they did Diamond Pearl, and then wasn't there another one of that? And then they did Black and White 2, which I don't feel like that is a valid. I don't think complaining about Black 2 and White 2 is really a problem, because it wasn't complained about and it was a direct sequel. So to me, complaining about that being like, oh, it was cut content from Black and White, it's not necessarily true. But continuing, like they've done this like 3-game or 4-game, depending upon how you look at it, with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. It's nothing new. The only difference is, instead of charging you, $60 for the Pokemon Armor DLC, they're charging you $30, which is normal for a DLC of a single player game. The problem is that if you have a Sword and Shield and you want to get the DLC for both, you are still going to have to shell out $60 because it's $30 a piece. But that's on you. That's your market decision, or your opportunity cost. Going back to our old economics class, opportunity cost. It's weird what you remember from elementary school. But anyway, so I just wanted to talk about a little bit about that, and and another thing, I did make a mention of this online on Twitter. I was like, if you don't like it, don't buy it. And somebody said that's not a valid argument. I'm sitting here going, yes, it is. Because let's say you buy a banana and it's a tiny banana, but you paid full price for it. would you buy that brand of banana again, or would you go buy another bigger banana that is the same price? I would say you would go buy the bigger banana from a different, maker or company. I, People don't make bananas, they grow them. But anyway, you wouldn't buy a Chiquita banana that was tiny versus a Dole banana that is huge if they're the same price. I would buy the huge banana, you know? So saying that if you don't like it, don't buy it isn't a valid argument. It is, because you're telling me that you're okay with all the practices that they've done because you just want to play that game. Well, then the whole point. And let me say that there is criticism to be had with the new Pokemon game. There is complete criticism, as I said earlier, with the textures and the frame rate. That's stuff that they could have ironed out, and I guess some of the animations. But I don't know how much those extra animations would have affected the game. But I know that the frame rate and the graphical issues should be ironed out before they reach retailers and stuff like that. But I think they just reused some assets from previous Pokemon games, which I understand. But at the same time, I'm like, you could have put in the extra effort. I mean, I'm not that upset by it, obviously, because I bought the game and I played it and I finished it. I didn't complete the Pokedex because I ain't about that life. I ain't got that time, even though I'm jobless. Please hire me. But anyway, so I wanted to talk about Pokemon because I feel like a lot of the criticisms that are being levied against it, especially with this whole national Dexit, everything's got to be an exit, or everything's got to be an exit now. Like, it's stupid because there was Brexit because Great Britain wanted to leave the EU, or England. Do they still call it Great Britain if it's just England? I don't know. I don't know the whole details of Brexit, so don't quote me on any of that. But it shouldn't have been called Dexit. Anyway, I digress. I went off on a tangent there. Wow. So Final Fantasy VII Remake, there was rumors that it was going to have a demo, and that demo is playable if you have a cracked PS4, or I should say a hacked PS4, whatever you want to call it, cracked, hacked, it's the same thing. But I'm not going to hack my PS4 because I don't want to show. Well, I don't want to have that bad faith from Sony and from other companies. But at the same time, I really want to play this demo. Like, you guys have no idea. I'm playing through Final Fantasy VII on the Twitch channel. I'm probably going to do that later today. Normally I do it at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, but I'm thinking about, making it a longer stream so I can get more of it done. So by the time March rolls around, I'll have the entire game finished. I don't know if I want to complete it at that time. I do want to finish it because I've never beaten Final Fantasy VII, not from lack of trying, but just because I've gotten to Sephiroth, basically the end, and I'm just like, I don't have to beat him. I want to do more. Me not wanting to finish a game does not mean does not necessarily mean it's bad. It just means that I may just want to play more of the game, because I feel once I finish the game and see all that it has to offer, or all the story has to offer, that and I screwed up the 100%. But the whole point is that Final Fantasy is one of my favorite games of all time, and Final Fantasy VII is one of my favorite games of all time, and that I'm willing to forego the happy ending or the ending period just so I can play more of it, or that I don't feel like that it's come to an end, you know, because that's something that I feel that happens for me. Um, but other than that, I really don't have anything to talk about today. Maybe one of these days I'll get around to talking about some things that some things that I want from this year in gaming, versus some things that I would like to see go away. I don't really feel like I'm qualified to talk about that kind of thing, because I'm not really a critic. I'm just a gamer. And because I'm just a gamer, I don't feel like any of my criticisms really uh, deserve that kind of editorial. Nor do I believe that most of it deserves, you know, some kind of platform or podium, because this is a platform and a podium, uh, and I'm not one of those guys who thinks that everything is bad because it is this way or they've fallen into this kind of trap. I think that some traps are good, like the whole hero's journey idea. I think that that's a really good. Huh. I hear that the hero's. I feel like the hero's journey is a complete story. But yeah. So not much else to talk about. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for listening to me just kind of ramble on about Pokemon and my thoughts on Iran, even though I kind of just glazed over it. And, me really voicing my opinion that I want to play the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo. Square Enix. I really, really want to play that. Hurry up. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to stay frosty.